Welcome to this shortwave radio channel, and we're talking about radios, and it's interesting because I see a lot of the comments of what people like and what people don't like, or what people would like to have in radios, and it is interesting. So RDS is fun. A lot of people like it. I enjoy it. If you're an FMDXer, I think it's something you like. A lot of people have commented, I don't use that because I don't use my radio on FM. Or I find, the information of limited interest. It depends on the radio, I think. I don't listen to FM a lot on most of my shortwave portables. I have specific radios for FM, for example. I might prefer my Sangean HDR14 because it's an HD radio to get the HD stuff, especially for the NPR station I'm getting here, which has a BBC stream. I will on the Texan H501X for its amazing sound quality in stereo FM. And these are things that I find really, really cool. For FM, but a standard portable, I rarely will use it on FM. And what I realize is a lot of people actually are also in that category. They just tune, medium wave, long wave, or shortwave in many cases. But still, today's radios can easily have RDS, the chip in these radios, because they use the silicon integrated chip for almost all of them now. Is RDS capable, and why not have it when simple $40-$50 radios have it. That's mostly that. For the airband, of course, some of you are saying, well, airband, I find it boring, or it's not of my interest. And yeah, I get it that not everybody enjoys a VHF airband, and it depends also where you live. In some places where there's almost nothing to listen to. Here I live in a big city with an airport. There's a lot of traffic, and it could be useful. I still prefer to have a little scanner radio than using a shortwave portable on airband, but that depends on everybody. So, for me, airband is not very important because I have so many other ways of listening to the airband. And at the same time, that's why I don't have much interest in airband on a shortwave portable, because I have other choices. And if I would put myself, down to people buying just one radio, and that's the only one they have, well, then maybe airband becomes interesting because it gives, more possibilities. The other thing that I think we have to talk about a little is, the batteries. How these radios use today batteries that are out of the ordinary. And what I mean by that is, AA batteries and so on. There's a lot of, point of views on those batteries. A lot of people don't really mind and say, well, it doesn't matter. I still think it does totally matter. I think the H501X would have benefited from being powered by, at least AA batteries. They would have, look at all the space the battery's taking in the compartment. They easily could have put AA batteries in there instead. It is true that the lithium-ion batteries pack more power for the size, and I think that's one of the considerations for these radios. Some, like the PL330, are so thin that I get the fact that you want to use some other thin little lithium ion instead of like AAAs, for example. Yet, it's not. I've got used to it, and now I have probably 10 or 12 18650s lying around here with a charger. I have 4 or 5 BL5Cs that I can charge also with its own charger. I've got accustomed to this and using this. All of these radios also have the possibility of, you can use a battery pack for, charging your phone. And you will be able to power the radio and charge its internal batteries with that. It's just that, my rant when I have one with these batteries really, really goes much more into what I always say. Go camping. Go, to some DX place of yours that is far away from the big city. And you have just one store in town. You might be prepared for every eventualities. You might be prepared for, some really cool DXing. But if you run out of power, AA batteries are, you could be at, the end of the world in some really, really small place where there's almost no one around. But that one little store that you will have at the end of that little road, I'll have AA batteries. That's where my observations go. You'll be able to purchase the power you need. You won't be able to purchase 18650s or BL5Cs. They're not in a general store. They're not in a standard little store in the corner street. It ain't like that. It's much more complex to get these batteries when you especially live in the rural areas or are in rural areas for your listening. And that's mostly what I want to say with that. I believe future of radio will be mostly lithium ion. I think this is a shift that is actually going to continue not just for our hobby and the radios, but also this is the shift of what's going to be continuing. And consumer radios, good old AM, FM radios, you'll purchase them because they'll have some kind of rechargeable battery instead of, AA's or C or D batteries or whatever. I think that's a trend that's slowly getting hold, and most radios built from now on will have these weird batteries inside them. And so that is, it could be okay for some. If you get real, if you prepare yourself like I do with batteries and external chargers and everything. There's something I don't really like about internal charging of radios also. Often they are slow to charge and sometimes not necessarily charging well. I've noticed that I get more power off of 18650s that are charged in my smart charger here than I would when I charge them from within the radio itself. It seems it's not exactly the same charging capability. But that's, interesting observations and comments that I see from everybody, and truly is interesting to see, how everybody copes with radios and talks about these radios and what they would like to have on the radios. And, last but not least, that darn muting when you tune around with a lot of the DSP-based radios. If they have the capability to really switch that to 0, why isn't done? I have the impression that Silicon Integrated's 4732 cannot be, put to a 0 mute state, because they would have done it, or some manufacturers would have done it. The Texan PL990X and the H501X higher end radios are also based. One of their, because they're triple conversions, one of their layers is built on that Silicon Integrated chip, but the main tuning is PLL, standard PLL tuning, which is more of like an analog tuning. They don't mute. So I do wonder if it is at all possible to remove muting when you use that, DSP chip for the radio. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.